maybe we could spin this Camaro and stick it in there that way, right against the wall. And then we can bring that 68 Ford cab over and stick it right here. All these engines can go out by the door.
You can actually reach the cab now.
Huh?
You can reach the cab now.
We're at the cab. So the last time Sean was in this thing was, geez, I think he was in this thing maybe once or twice as a baby in a car seat. He definitely doesn't remember. I remember having him in here just a couple times, and then the reason that I bought my diesel truck was because I needed more room. I had 2 kids. I had Sarah and Sean. They wouldn't fit in a standard cab short of a pickup, so here it is.
The lighting is terrible.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. We're underneath the 4-post lift, so we'll do what we can, but the truck is still pretty mint. Everything looks good. This door's not really shut. There you go. It does line up nice. So we'll see if we can get all this out. I don't know. Something tells me that 2 wheels on this cart that it's on are casters and 2 wheels are fixed. If that's the case, we're kind of screwed. We're gonna have to shimmy this thing out with a jack, because this 69 Firebird shell here is another serious junkyard dilemma, right? Look at this thing. Anyhow, this 69 Firebird shell, it's pretty beat to death. Can't go much more than maybe like 6 or 8 inches in that direction, because we've got a rack that I built. I kind of built all this stuff in the corner. It's all locked in place. So this is going to be a real little shimmy job to get this out of here. And hopefully we can turn the 69 Camaro sideways and shove it right in this spot when we're done. But I guess we'll see how that goes once we get here, or there, however you want to call it. But this thing's just got parts inside of it for now. Like, look at this. What do I got? Doors in here. 69 Camaro doors. Some, oh, look at this. Some 6x9s. Look at this. Does anyone remember? Does anybody remember the Urban speakers? These were like the cheapest, coolest thing back when I was in high school. That was a long time ago, like 1996 or 97. Like Urban speakers. Everybody that had no money had Urban speakers. Well, all right. I guess let's see if we can shimmy this thing out of here without destroying anything. I really don't want to have to do any body work to it because it's perfect. So let's do it. Make sure you watch that side by that Firebird, Sean. Keep coming. Go to you a little bit. Keep coming. It's possible that my measurement skills, my calibrated eyeball is off. But I think it's going to be pretty close. So while we're in here, moving things around, the old, my old 70 Nova from high school, this is really where it all started. Even back before the 69 Firebird. This was it. This engine's probably only got 500 miles on it. It's a 396 that I built. It's just a 30 over 396, a real simple setup. But this thing was awesome back in the day. I only ran it at the track a couple times. And even back then, it went a really high 11 with a set of slicks on it that I was talked into buying. So back then I really was all about running a street tire and running it just like I drove it on the street. And then I got talked into a set of slicks, and it went from 1220 or 1230 right to 1197. And that was the last time I ever drove this car. I went away to school and had kids and all that good stuff. So we started up like every 2 years just to make sure, keep everything, every year, keep everything lubed up good. So this engine doesn't have any problems. The whole engine, this whole setup is going to end up going into the 67 Camaro we have with a 4-speed Muncie. Right now it's a turbo 400, but it was a really simple setup. got a 6-point cage in it, just a mild steel cage I did years ago. It was turning out pretty good, so we're gonna make this an 8-point, and then at some point this will get a 427 in it. Probably the 427. What the intentions are to put the 427 that we're putting in this C1500 project into this car once we build a bigger engine for the C1500. So kind of got all the pieces will come together eventually, but we're going to start with what we got. But I'm going to fire this thing up today, see what it sounds like, make sure everything is still functional after it's sitting, make sure no mice got in there, and you guys get to hear what it sounds like.
Look at that.
I think I was here. See that? You guys would have forgotten.
Cab is on its way back to the garage.
Hey, welcome back to Snafu Performance Garage. So I screwed up and I didn't have the camera set right during the making of these extensions for the square tube back half. Anyhow, I got these rear sections done. I think they turned out perfect. I had to notch these out. I have video where I showed how I drew everything out, notched them out, folded everything up, welded it back together, ground it down. I screwed up, my fault. I messed up on the video, so I don't have any footage of that. But here they are. Got these all welded back up. This is our tail piece coming off the outside here. There's gonna be 2 pieces coming out. They're gonna mount the back of the bed. Coming off the sides will be the bracket to mount the second rail in from the back to the frame on this whole setup. So what I'm going to do, now these turned out really, really nice. I metal finished these. I mean, you almost can't tell anything was done here, but being that we're going to be towing a trailer for this with this truck and putting weight on this rear portion of this frame, I'm going to make some of these little kidney bean shaped patches, and I'm going to fish plate. So I'm going to make these little patches out of metal, 11 gauge. They're going to go in here. And basically, I had made cuts in here. I welded it all together. I ground it down. It looks great. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this patch so that there's a solid piece in here, just doubling this area up. I may do it on the outside too, depending on where the frame mount, the frame gusset here ends up. If it's inset more, I'll have to put a fish plate in here. If it's not, then if it falls in this same area, I'll probably leave it without the fish plate there. So we'll see once I get this whole assembly back up onto the truck. But for right now, I'm gonna work on cutting these out of some metal. I've got a little pattern traced out here. I'm gonna use the plasma cutter. I'm gonna blast a couple of these out, at least 2, grind them flat. I'm gonna TIG weld them in, so I don't have to grind any of the welds. It's gonna look really nice. Just marked out. I don't know if you can really see. So I've got those scribe marks on there, little triangles. So they're evenly spaced to keep it neat. We will go through, cut them, bend this. What I did was, what I like to do when I do this, I took a piece of my craft paper and I cut a couple triangles out, and you can see I thought I was gonna need a lot more. These are just, you know, pencil marks on here. So I cut them out. It turns out I cut out one too many as I was testing. So you can see right on this paper, this gives a pretty nice bend to it. It's gonna have to drop down kind of severe like this because of the way that you know, the bed floor is so low like that. But I did this as a representation of what it will end up looking like on the piece of metal. rather than just winging it and cutting the metal and screwing up this whole piece. Do it on the paper. This should be a pretty good representation of how it's going to look once we do it with the metal. So I'm going to just let you guys hang out over here while I start cutting and grinding. Keep an eye on what I'm doing, and we'll see if I was right about my markings and if this is going to actually fall in place up underneath this bed. That turned out really awesome. Just kidding, actually it looks like crap, but I'll show you how I make two matching pieces. It's actually really simple. All right, so check out how crappy these look. Now this is just to show that you can make something. I mean, look at those cuts. I just whipped them out real quick. They look terrible. I could have done a lot better, but I want to show everybody something. You take your 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, 6 pieces, whatever it might be, 10 pieces, and you tack weld them together. Tack weld them together, pick a spot that isn't going to get ground down. So for example, like this one here, this little divot here, they're pretty equal, right? So when I grind this all out, I won't be breaking that weld. Pick another spot, just tack it together. Take it to your belt sander or your grinder or whatever you're using, and then whittle this all down. Like I said, there's no rule book for this stuff, so you can make something that looks as unique as you want it. It's gonna do the job. We know it's gonna do the job. This piece, we're gonna take all this ugly looking stuff off the outside edge of this, and we're going to put it in here like this, and we're going to weld the whole perimeter. It's going to add a whole level of rigidity to this. Even though I welded everything and it's seamless right now, being that we're towing the trailer, I just don't trust it. So watch this here. I know that there's probably a bunch of you out there that have tried to make brackets, and you look at them and it bothers you later on. They just don't match. Well, this is how you make them match. It's really simple, but a lot of people don't realize it until they get into it and start doing it. So follow along. All right, so that's just tacked together in a couple spots. This gives us a great way to start, just shaping this outside of these things. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Most of you can probably do a better cut. I'm just making an example here of how sloppy you can make it and how great you can make it in the end. So check this out. It's already starting to take some shape. All right, so that's a pretty good start. I mean, we got them roughed out. That's about as good as we're gonna get on the belt sander there, 36 grit. There's some little nooks and crannies and things. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna be welding the edge of this anyway, flat to the frame rail. So that's all gonna be hidden. You don't have to be 100% there, but usually I can just bust these apart by just tapping them on the bench. There you go. That's it. We got 2 pieces that are identical depending on which way you place them. I don't know how they're going to go on there, but we'll put them on there. They probably could have been shaped different. That's the whole thing. Like I said before, you can shape them any way you want. So this is going to be cool. We'll get them on there. We'll get this done. I'm going to TIG weld all this. That way I don't have to have any weld spatter or anything like that. It'll just be TIG welded, it'll be done, finished, end of the story. That's how I make little pieces like that, brackets, everything so that they match side to side. That's it. All right, so you see that we obviously we capped the ends of this rear bar. That turned out pretty great. I got everything lined up. We put our little fish plates in here to give this some extra strength when this thing is bouncing down the highway with the trailer connected back here. I think that should be more than enough. I've got real good welds in every place else. I just figured if I could give it a little extra loving on the back side there, we would do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw this bar in here. So now that gives me a good strong place to weld that to. Not that it wasn't strong before, but it's going to be super strong now. So we're just going to fit everything here perfectly. We've got a measurement off of the frame that's attached to the truck already. We'll do all that. We're just going to tack this together so that we can kind of carry it around, just in case something doesn't fit right. If I took a measurement wrong, saw something wrong, whatever it might be on the underside of that bed. We'll get this in there. Once I know that everything is right with the bed, we'll take the bed back off. We'll finish welding this. So just something to keep in mind. What I did was along the way, if you remember back in the earlier videos, I made that frame perfectly level. I found that level point, and that's where I've been building everything off of. So what I did is as I brought everything toward the back of the truck now, I don't have to go crazy fanatical measuring off of the ground or having inaccuracies there. I can put my level line with the laser, and I can make level measurements to either side of this to be equal with the frame, and put my angle finder, here and here and just search for 0. So I know this has to be 90, I know this has to be 0, and then that matches the rest of the frame. So from front to back, it's exactly the same. I think for me, that really cuts a lot of guesswork out of it when I'm all said and done, just to keep working with that 0 plane. I'm sure that there's other guys that, like I said, do this all the time and have jigs set up. They don't give a crap about the angles that they end up with because they know exactly where everything's going to be. But for you on your garage floor, for me here on my garage floor, just that 0 plane and zeros and 90-degree angles work perfect for me. It's easy to remember. All right, so we're getting this rear section of this frame welded on. Got some grinding done on it. Everything seems to be lining up just right. I got the porta power in there to hold everything where it needs to be. We got to spread that out a little bit. It pulled in a little bit when I was welding these back corners in. And when I welded here, it just sucked in about a 1/4 inch. So we spread it with the porta power. Well, now everything is exactly right. It looks a little bit funny because we flip these to get a little bit of this curve in there. And the top of this tube is a little wider than the bottom, so it's got a little bit of an edge. But once I weld it and grind everything, that won't be a problem. And then this will get a fish plate on the outside and the inside of this to keep everything solid. So nothing can go anywhere. That's where we're going to go next. We're just going to pull a tape on this and then make sure we're going to go from the very front corner of the frame to a fixed point that I used when I built the rest of this, to this back corner here, and then we'll just triangulate it and then do an X, and we'll go from this corner to the right front corner of the frame. Make sure everything's exactly where it needs to be so that this whole assembly left to right is where it belongs, and we'll start welding. So here we are back at it again. I know I jumped ahead. I keep doing this. Please forgive me. We're just getting used to this whole videoing thing. Sean and I struggled to get the bed and the cab set on. There wasn't a matter of difficulty of actually setting it on. We didn't have problems with that. It was just, we did it by ourselves, so there was a lot of work. We didn't set the camera up, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, the cab is sitting on, it's just sitting on the bushings, it's not bolted down. Just so you guys know, none of this is permanent. Like, this frame's gonna be sandblasted, painted. There's gonna be a lot of detail work that has to go into all this. We're just at the mock-up stage. We already realized that we're gonna have to cut the transmission tunnel out. We're gonna have to remove a lot of other things. We might have to do some notches in the frame to make everything work. So let me just take you around the back. As you can see, Sean, get down low there. Our body lines turned out flawless. Where everything sits is 100% right. The gap between the cab and the bed is right on the money. So the back half, everything we did, all the work, all the extra time, all the measuring we did, measure twice, measure 3 times, measure 4 times, cut once. It definitely paid off. We finished up the entire back half section. The back half of the back half is done. I've got a few more little miscellaneous brackets I got to weld on to secure the bed in the front. Other than that, this whole rear section's done. I do have to do some finish welds, but it's all tacked in strong enough that it's going to work for the rest of the mock-up purposes. I still have to put the wishbone in. I still have to put my anti-roll bar in. So there's still more work that's got to be done there, but that's about it back here. This is sitting. This is attached. It's bolted. I mean, everything it's bolted on. The bed fits nice. The brackets are made. We got the roll pan. This roll pan is going to go on the back of the truck. I think you guys know where a roll pan normally goes. This is the old trailer hitch that came out of the Firebird. Once I changed the fuel system around the Firebird, I had to build a different trailer hitch for it. And I didn't want to see this big ugly thing hanging out the bottom of the Firebird anymore. I just threw something in there when I had the original fuel tank in. So I had to be below the fuel tank with this, and it kind of, in my opinion, looked terrible. But it was super functional, super strong, it worked great. Now this is gonna just get cut down, and then I'll make some brackets and attach this to the bottom of this frame here. And then our receiver is gonna go right through this hole in the roll pan. So this will be completely hidden. We'll put a 69 Firebird Camaro or like Nova style license plate bracket on here so we can flip it down. This will also act for our parachute mount. So it has a multi-purpose there. I think it's cleaner that way when we're driving around without the trailer on. That's where we're at with the back end of this thing. So let's go around the front real quick. I want to show you what's going to be leading up to our next video here. So right now, Sean and I are working on mocking up the engine. I don't know if I've gone over this too much detail, but we're doing a big block Chevy. Right now, it's going to be a 427 big block. We're going to run a tunnel ram, 2 Dominators, set of rectangle port heads. We're going to try to get everything we can out of it. And then it's going to get a fogger system put in it for the a little extra power, because the 500 or 600 horsepower that this 427 is going to make is not going to motivate this big truck too good. So we're shooting for that 800 horsepower range with the nitrous. So that'll be, let's be conservative and say 500 horsepower out of the engine, 300 horsepower worth of nitrous. Should put us at that 800 flywheel horsepower range, and the nitrous, of course, is going to give us a tremendous amount of torque. The 456 gears, the Turbo 400 with the right converter, I think this is going to be a good combination to get us to run a 10.0. I know that's slow for a truck with big tires. There's a lot more purpose behind this whole thing than just going as fast as possible for right now. This truck, we're going to take it out. We're going to try to dial it in this year. And then this will be the first truck that Sean gets to drag race. And we'll probably run this thing naturally aspirated, maybe for the first year, until he can get his feet wet. It'll be super safe. It's going to have an 850 cage. It'll have the harness. It's going to have all the safety features that he's going to need to learn to get his feet wet safely, reliably. This thing will go straight. He's not going to have to fight it. He's not going to have to learn to do this and that. And then when it's only running naturally aspirated, maybe it'll go 1150s or so. So it's not going to be pulling the wheels off the ground. It's not going to be doing all this radical stuff, which I know he's going to want to do. But the dad in me is going to make this thing a little bit safe for the first year or so out. And then he'll work his way gradually up to running the nitrous. Once he masters that, I'm sure he's going to want to go with a bigger power plant. So this is where we're at. So we're going to get this engine mocked up real quick. We're going to finish our video off with that. And the next video, we're going to start with getting the mid plate and the front engine plate in. We're going to have to work it around suspension, the steering gearbox. We're going to get the tranny mounted up. We'll get our pinion angle set. We'll show you how we do that. We're going to see exactly how much of that transmission tunnel we're going to have to cut out of the way. Hopefully not too much, but it's a race car, so it is what it is. And that's going to about wrap this one up. So watch this little tidbit. We'll put it in here and bolt in this engine again and show you what it's really going to look like.